First of all, to the person who created the out of context Michael Bowers account, you cheeky bugger. I can't believe someone actually took the time and energy and effort to actually go through all those painstaking clips and actually try and find ones of me. So, yeah. As long as it's done in a light-hearted fashion and it's not done to be malicious or nasty or anything, or it's not used in a way for people to be malicious or nasty, then, fair enough. Then continue doing it. I think it's a good laugh. As long as people are sensible with it, then fair enough. Anyway, originally I did a reaction to Lewis Morgan's interview with the YouTube account called Open Goal. Basically where he talks about his whole career, and then obviously Sunderland comes up into it. It's about a 15-minute segment. If you want to watch it, go and look for it. Type Lewis Morgan, and the interview, I think it's just before the hour mark, say 59 minutes or so, 59 minutes, 50 seconds, something like that he starts talking about Sunderland, and it goes on for about 15 minutes. So I didn't bother to watch the rest of it because I'm not interested in the rest of it. But in saying that, I originally did a 23-minute long video about his interview and reacting to clips of it and sort of playing through it again after I'd watched it and just like going through it bit by bit. But in the end, I thought it was too long, and I don't think enough people would probably have liked it. I didn't think it was very good. So I thought I'd just try and summarise some of the points that he made in the interview himself. So, obviously, one of the things that he did talk about in the interview was the ownership. He talked about the the so-called negativity around the club. With Stuart Donald and Charlie Methven there, and that apparently, they both tried to get involved in the football side of things. They didn't know anything about football. I'm prepared to bet both of them knew a damn sight more than what Ellis Short bothered to know about football, but that's by the by. I do get with him that there probably are deep-rooted issues at the club, and until they get sorted, the club is likely going to stagnate. I still believe we should have enough to get out of League One without that, but long term, those deep-rooted problems do need sorting. Methven, one of the things I probably do agree with Morgan, one of the few things I did agree with Morgan in the interview was that probably Methven seemed to be, liked it to be on himself with the cameras and the spotlight, and he probably did like that, to be fair. One of the things I did think Methven was doing right, though, was I thought he was attempting to change the culture around Sunderland. For me, not because of the players not being good enough, no, that was the reason for me why Sunderland struggles so much. Not just like it was, look at the way he had to go at the woman who was I can't remember what her name is, but anyway, no, he had a go at her basically on the Boxing Day Bradford match in front of the cameras. Doing that in front of the cameras was probably wrong. It probably should have been sorted out in-house. But the principle of it, I think, was spot on. I think that there was a lot of people, and she was one of them, that just didn't seem to care. She didn't seem to. I thought her attitude was appalling. And I think that Charlie Methven and Stuart Donald were right to try and change the in-house business culture. But in saying that, the culture at the minute doesn't seem right, especially with them two at the club. So I agree with Morgan. I'll give you that one. That those two, it can become across as quite a negative place, especially at the moment. But for me, on the playing side of things, for me, that's an easy excuse. And I said it when we had the players in the championship season, I believe they had no excuse to get relegated, and I will still stand by that. I'm sorry, no one is ever going to change my mind on that. That team shouldn't have got relegated, simple as that. And for this one, Morgan, the way, in general, it's an easy excuse for me. Morgan, I think, just seemed interested in trying to create excuses for himself rather than take responsibility. And for me, it's... No. I mean, he has pointless digs at Lee Cattermole and Luke O'Nien, and, he has a go at Luke O'Nien for whatever reason, saying, he's mingling with the fans, he likes being... Yeah, basically had to dig at O'Nien's personality from what I can remember of it. And it's like, well, yeah, you didn't really bother to interact with fans, did you? Not from what I can remember. You didn't really look like you were interested. So, no, I'm going to be calling out the garbage in that. So... As far as O'Nien was concerned, O'Nien's obviously is probably one of my favourite Sunderland players at the minute. It's not, and people go, he's not a good footballer, but for me, sorry, I respect your opinion if you think that, obviously, but for me, I think he gives a lot of passion, energy, and drive, and 110% commitment, which are good attributes in a footballer, by the way. It's amazed how many people conveniently forget those. But in saying that, has a go at him for a pointless reason, and then he has a go at Cattermole for missing a penalty in the Checkatrade final when Cattermole apparently could have left in the summer of 2018, could have given a decent package to leave, and he goes, well, no, I want to stay and win something at the club. I don't believe winning the Checkatrade Trophy or EFL Trophy counts as winning something, because it's not a major trophy, but in saying that, apparently it is officially a trophy, so he says, it sums up when Cattermole misses the penalty in the Checkatrade final, well, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not entirely sure if Morgan bothered to take one. If he did, fair enough, I'll shut up, but still. In saying that as well, though, there was a few other things. He said about the clicks going on around the training ground. Now, obviously, that's up to Jack Ross to sort out, and it seems to me like he didn't do it then. And as far as I'm concerned, he also claimed Ross, we should have given Ross more time. And it's like, on what basis should we have given Ross more time? I think that in the 18-19 season he did okay, but the squad he had should have got promoted. I don't care what anyone says. And we bottled the playoff final. Absolutely bottled it from a winning position. Didn't bother to defend the 2 goals. And in saying that as well, obviously you had to go about McGeady, saying about McGeady was basically someone who, he tried to take things on himself. So I suppose in some ways he could be a bit overbearing for the squad. And if he was overbearing for the squad and he was creating something of a negative atmosphere, then fair enough. We probably won't have a right not to use him in next season coming. But when it came to Jack Ross, again, did Lewis Morgan watch the way we were playing at the start of last season? No. We scraped a draw against Bolton Wanderers. We got battered at Peterborough. Albeit Peterborough a decent side, but we shouldn't be losing 3-0 to anyone in this league. Sorry. With Lincoln City, we lost comfortably to Lincoln City. I think that result alone was enough to convince people that Jack Ross should be sacked. I think the decision was right to get rid of Jack Ross. The players looked remarkably not very fit towards the start of last season. It's like, well, that's on Jack Ross then. He should have been able to instill more in them than that. So there's just a whole bunch of things that in that interview just did not sit right with us at all. Another one, there's a number of them I can't really be bothered to remember, but one last thing I will touch on is the playoff final. When, he goes on about, the plan is we're going to bring you and McGeady on around about the hour mark. And then him and McGeady, apparently, instead of taking it, instead of we'll appreciate this is part of a bigger plan, both took a huff. McGeady was injured anyway, but Morgan took a huff and then said, my head's gone, I'm not going to be focused as much now. Right, that says a hell of a lot. Morgan, that tells me a lot I need to know about you then, if you're basically willing to let that happen rather than focus on the job at hand in the playoff final. He's saying, we wouldn't have scored if we were playing for 10 hours. That's your job, mate. You're supposed to be there to create chances and score goals yourself. So that's a damning incitement of yourself, really, mate. So come on, not having that. That's going to be another clip that's going to be taking the mick out of. I'm not taking that. It's just Morgan just didn't seem he was interested in taking responsibility for his own situation. And even when he goes, the fans are harsh and the fans are, but to be fair, they are used to being playing in the Premier League. And yeah, that's true. We are used to being playing Premier League football. But, for me, expecting to go up from League One is fairly realistic, Morgan. You need to realise that. So, look, this is a jumbled mess, but basically, a lot of the things that Morgan said just didn't sit right with me. He seemed he was in it for himself. He seemed that he just didn't, I do agree with him about some of the deep-rooted problem issues. I think they do need to be sorted out, but it doesn't change the fact that I think Morgan was just someone who didn't do enough in the 6 months that he was here. Yeah, he showed a bit of fancy skills occasionally here and there, but for me, no. Morgan didn't show enough, simple as that. He came from Celtic, he came with something, for what you would consider a pedigree, I suppose. And he just didn't show enough. He should have stood out in League One by a distance and didn't. He looked distinctly average at best. Lyndon Gooch, who I've criticised a lot, I think justifiably criticised a lot, but Lyndon Gooch's work rate is exceptional, and Lyndon Gooch puts Morgan to shame. Simple as that. The last thing I'll react towards is the Carabao Cup first round draw. Sunderland have been drawn against Hull City at home in the first round. And obviously in the EFL Trophy, we're going to be getting the academy team in our group later, but we've got Carlisle and Fleetwood. For me, none of the cups are important that much this year. It's all about trying to go up, finishing in the top 2, and I'm sick of people saying it's not realistic, it should be realistic. That's the aim, that's the expectation. If not, we might as well not bother turning up for next season. Fair enough. Look, I think I would view that the Cup's getting played before the start of the season, before the start of the league campaign, I think is a good thing. And it's all about trying to, get some pre-match sharpness, pre-season fitness, and we need to start getting a move on here. And while we're at it, Sunderland, can we actually start ahead getting a move on with some more signings, please? Because I know the salary cap hasn't helped things, but you're not helping things by stagnating. Anyway, guys, love you all lots. Take care, and I'll probably see you later this week for the SCFC Fan TV interview. And hopefully, either here or on SCFC Fan TV, whatever, we'll be reacting to the fixture release dates later this week. Take care.